We do our work under the auspices of the International Federation of Accountants, who provide a lot of support for our work, but we are independent and we have our own oversight and advisory arrangements, which are different to those of the other standard setting boards that IFAC supports. So we have our own public interest committee, which comprises representatives of the World Bank, IMF, IPSASB and OECD, and we have our own consultative advisory group, which brings a range of expertise to our work that complements the skills and the membership of the IPSASB itself. We have a range of experience and expertise within the board, and we use that to set global standards for the public sector. And I think that's really important because people can have confidence in the process that we apply in developing our standards, that we will identify the specific issues that need treatment for the public sector and address the public sector context. Now, that doesn't mean that we set standards that are different. Where it's appropriate for a transaction to be treated in the same way in the public sector as in the private sector, then we will base our standards on the international financial reporting standards. But we will make sure in doing that we address the specifics of the public sector, either in terms of terminology or the guidance. Where that's not appropriate, as we have done in the past, for example, with our standard on non-exchange transactions, IPSAS 23, we will develop a standard specifically for the public sector. We also approved our strategy and work plan. So that's a very important milestone because that will govern the direction of our work for the next 5 years. And also we added 2 new projects to our work plan, natural resources and a limited scope review of the conceptual framework. So those were the pieces of work that we approved, but we also had very productive discussions in terms of how we take forward our leases project, building on the responses that we had from our stakeholders to ED64 last year. And we made some key decisions on our measurement project, which should mean that we can actually finalise a consultation paper at our March meeting, including an illustrative exposure draft. And then finally, we had some very important discussions on our revenue project, again, working out how we apply private sector principles to address the specific context in the public sector, where you don't necessarily have contracts, but you can have binding arrangements that means the public sector must deliver. So overall, it was a very good meeting, 4 very intense days. But I think we achieved everything we wanted to, and a very good discussion, and really I think that was enhanced by the input that we had in terms of the Malaysian context and how implementation is progressing, because I think that's one of our challenges, is making sure that we continue to address the needs of our stakeholders. So the kind of contact that we had last week was extremely important and will help us going forwards as we take our strategy and work plan forwards.